Hi guys, welcome back. I recently did a video on Range Rover car insurance and that inspired quite a lot of interest in the comments section. I used to work in the car insurance industry many years ago now when I was a lot younger, and I've got some advice in general for car insurance for people that want to reduce their premiums as much as possible and get the best possible quote. I'm going to give you some tips on how you can do that. The first and most important one is there's no reward for loyalty these days in the car insurance business. I've spoken to friends and family that seem to think because they're staying with the same car insurance firm year upon year that somehow they're going to be rewarded for their loyalty, and that isn't how the industry works. What happens in this very competitive industry is some of the companies that want to increase the amount of people that they're insuring because they want to increase their share revenue and they want to boost the numbers for their investors, they will give a huge discount to people that are new to the insurance company. So if you're coming from a different company over to them, they will knock 20 to 30% sometimes off of the premium to reward you for moving over. So every year when your car insurance is due, get onto the price comparison sites, because that's the quickest and most efficient way to check many different insurers. Most of the insurers now are set up to do this online. You know, if you're ringing around them still and trying to get quotes that way, it's going to be very frustrating, because you're going to find yourself put through to call centers often in other countries, and that's probably not a good way to do it. Get on sites like Money Supermarket, Go Compare, and that way you're comparing hundreds of different companies and you're going to be able to input all your circumstances into there. And that leads us on to the next part, is tweaking those inputs that you're putting into your quote. And if you're doing it online, especially on those multiple comparison sites, you can see how each tweak affects your premium. And we still have to be careful to be honest on here. I'm not suggesting anyone inputs anything that's dishonest, because that would end up invalidating your insurance. But there's certain things that you can do that will reduce your premium. So one of the things I suggest is adding an additional driver. So if you have a spouse, a partner, and they have a driving license, add them on as an additional driver, and you might be surprised to see that in some cases that will give you quite a hefty discount on your premium. That's because statistically, people that are in a relationship are much less likely to have an accident. They're going to be slightly more responsible if they've got their wife and children, etc., and they're probably less likely to drive around like lunatics. And this shows up in the statistics that they have less accidents, and therefore the car insurance companies will reward you for that. And it's even worth trying, if you're single, adding a close friend or relative that you feel it might be beneficial for them to have access to your vehicle. Make sure you're adding someone that has, a reasonable driving record. They've been driving for a while, they've got a clean license, they don't have a bunch of claims and convictions. Add them to the policy as the additional driver and see if that has a positive effect on your premium. Where the car is parked overnight and in the day is going to make a huge difference to premium. There is not a great increase if you park it in the garage compared to the driveway. That's because statistically, most people that say they park it in the garage often end up parking it in the driveway anyway. So crime figures sort of show that, so the insurance companies don't particularly reward you for that. But if you say it's on the driveway and you live in a reasonable area, that will give you a good premium. I would avoid at all costs saying that you keep the car out on the roadside. That will be the worst case scenario, and you will definitely get an increased premium for that. In the day, if you're working, either the car should stay on the driveway and you get to work in another manner, or if you commute in the car, hopefully you're commuting to a place that has a secured car park. That's going to be your best option there, a secured car park at the workplace. Again, if you're just parking it on a random street somewhere outside, they're going to negatively affect your premium for that. You will often get a discount on the premium if you say that you normally pay for your insurance annually. That's because people that pay in one go annually are statistically less likely to have accidents than people that pay monthly. Probably because people that pay monthly or want to pay monthly tend to be younger drivers that, again, are less experienced, maybe more prone to driving a little bit quickly, and they have a few more accidents. So if you can say that you pay annually, you can actually still pay monthly if you do that, because it will ask you, do you normally pay annually or monthly? If you select annually there, and then when you actually come to pay for the premium, you can still select that you pay monthly, you will have already taken advantage of the discount applied. Don't modify your car, because obviously if you modify it, you're going to have to list that to your insurance company, and whatever modification you make that sets that car out from being standard, they will load your premium. Even if it's things that you think, well, I'm making the car safer, or it's just cosmetic. You know, if you upgrade the brakes on a car, the only people that generally want to upgrade brakes are people that drive very fast. So statistically speaking, people that ask to upgrade their brakes are also people that are more likely to have an accident. Therefore, the insurance companies will load you on that. If you make an aesthetic change to the car and you give it a flashy paint job, or you put a load of graphics all over it, that's going to make it more appealing to thieves. It's going to make it stand out from the other vehicles in the row of parked vehicles, and therefore the insurance company are likely going to load that as well, the same as they will for things like alloy wheels that are not standard on your vehicle. So try to keep the vehicle standard, and be aware that, you know, not telling them about those things will just invalidate your insurance. Protecting your no claims discount is a debatable issue. Now, in the industry, none of us used to protect our no claims discount. That's because if you have an accident, even with protected no claims discount, the insurance company will simply load your premium the next time you get a quote. So protecting it really didn't have much of an effect in terms of real time money saving. And when you worked out how much money you would save building back up your no claims discount compared to keeping it protected and building the money back up slowly after having an accident or a theft or something like that, there wasn't that much difference between the two. That isn't maybe the case these days. I can't guarantee that one way or the other, but you do pay for protecting your no claims discount. So that's something to take into consideration. Legal cover is another one. All these add-ons, there's a reason insurance companies want you to add these on, is because that's where they make a lot of their money, because most people never use these add-ons and it's just money you're giving to the insurance company basically. A lot of them will sneakily add roadside assistance when in fact you've maybe got roadside assistance with your bank free of charge, for example, or you simply pay for roadside assistance yourself. So make sure they're not bundling things like that onto your premium that you don't actually need, and think about what realistically you do need. Your job is going to make a huge difference to your premium, believe it or not. If you are someone that mixes with celebrities, for example, so let's say you're a Premiership football player and you go and park in the car park with all the other Premiership guys, the chances of you having a very costly accident are increased, because if you ding someone in that car park, you probably just dinged someone's 250,000 vehicle with your £250,000 vehicle, and that's going to be costly for the insurance company. The same as if you worked at the BBC and entertainment, or things like working at licensed premises, they will have a reflection on your premium in a negative manner, because alcohol is being considered there. People that work on licensed premises are considered to be more likely to have accidents due to alcohol being involved, and they may load your premium for that as well. So do think about the job that you have in comparison to your insurance premium. That will have an effect. I know that's a difficult one. You're not probably going to change your job to get a better insurance premium, but it's something worth noting at least. If you got offered, for example, a day a week part-time work at the bar, and you took that and then you told your insurance company about it, it would probably be sensible not to take that extra day's work and just to save it on your insurance premium instead. Or at the very least, be aware that what you do earn from that, you're going to pay a significant chunk out of that to an increased premium. Once you've found a good premium on your price comparison site, after you've kind of made these tweaks and seen how good you can get it, it's worth then selecting the premium that you like the look of, which will probably be the cheapest, that offers the benefits that you need from it, the courtesy car and all that kind of stuff. Once you've got that, it is worth then getting in touch with the insurance company that are offering it and letting them know about any other things that you might have that could reduce your premium. So if you've got CCTV all around your house and protecting the garage where the car's parked, for example, or you've got extra alarm systems on the vehicle, a tracker, an immobilizer, a lot of these things, there is no ability to input on the comparison sites any detail on those features, and they are features that will attract a reduction in premium. So it's definitely worth speaking to someone at the insurance company on the phone at that point and asking them if they can have the underwriters take a look and see if there's any reduction to be had. The same could be said for anything you've got in terms of enhanced driving ability. If you've been on any courses, lessons, etc., then that may also help you reduce your premiums. So it's definitely worth going through to them and having a chat at that point. After you've done all this and you've got your premium, stop for a moment. Don't just press, buy on the credit card option or whatever. Go back to your original insurance company. This is where you can see a bit of benefit from going back to the original company you started with. And not only that, it does make it easier, because if you're staying with your original company, it's a lot less hassle. They're just going to send you out a new insurance certificate, and you're going to keep all your payments the same, etc. But go back to your company and say, look, you gave me a quote for this year that was higher than the year before. I've now gone round to some other insurance companies and I've got a quote for X amount of pounds, which looks really good to me, offers the same benefits as your insurance does. So if you're unable to match that, I'm going to move to this other company. At that point, they will do everything in their power to reduce their premium so that they can match or slightly beat your best quote. And a lot of the time they will be able to do that. So that will allow you to stay hassle-free with the company that you want to stay with and basically get the premium out of them that you wanted. And lastly, I should mention car selection. Now, obviously, some vehicles are going to be more expensive to insure than others, depending on the price of the vehicle, the power of the vehicle. Interesting to note that, in fact, diesel vehicles tend to have slightly higher premiums than petrol vehicles. That's because diesel vehicles are a lot heavier, and when they have an accident, they tend to cause more damage to other vehicles, for example. So there are things to consider there, but generally speaking, a low-powered, low-cost economy car is going to be a lot cheaper to insure than than something that's got 400 brake horsepower and cost £80,000 to purchase. That's pretty obvious. What might not be so obvious is the way these statistics work is that some rarer types of vehicle, because there's very little data on them in terms of thefts, etc., you may actually find that you can get quite a powerful vehicle that is a lot lower in premiums than vehicles that it could be directly compared to. So a good example for this that we used to do would be, say if you wanted a BMW M3, they're obviously going to attract a high premium because they're highly desirable cars. They're very, very popular. They're very numerous. Lots of them get stolen, vandalized, broken into, etc. So there's huge statistics on those showing that they're quite a risk to insurance companies. Now, if you were to select an Alpina, which is a kind of aftermarket company that makes a modified version of the M3, then you might find that the premiums are a lot cheaper because very few Alpinas exist on the roads. I don't even know if they make new versions of that. I'm just using that as an example. But that would in effect attract at the time a much lower premium than the same M3 with the same power that cost around the same money. The Alpina version would be a lot lower. And you may even find within the same brand, if you looked at BMWs and you wanted to insure something, in the 3 Series, and you looked at all the models, you might even find models within that that attract lower premiums, even though they cost around the same money and they have similar power outputs, etc. Because statistically, a lot less people own them, a lot less people have had accidents with them, and therefore the premiums are lower because the insurance company on paper feel that they're less risk. All this is worked out by computers, so some of it doesn't appear to make much common sense because the computer is just working this out from statistics. It's not someone sat there looking down the list of cars and comparing the brake horsepower figures, etc. It's all done by computer, so that's why it may seem slightly unusual, but you can benefit from some of these quirks. Guys, I hope that's been of some use to you. Good luck getting a cheap insurance premium. They've all gone up across the board. We know that in the UK, you know, for various reasons, because the same reasons that we've all had for things going up. Insurance companies are paying higher energy bills, they're paying more money for their staff, you know, their costs have gone up across the board. And not only that, in the last couple of years, there's been a dearth of claims on them, from everything from increased car crime and theft through to, you know, claims for damage in storms, flood damage. All this kind of thing affects our premiums. So unfortunately, we're now paying the price for that. But hopefully these tips will help you out a bit. And for some people that haven't utilized any of these things before, they might even be able to get their premium down this year to be cheaper than previous years, and they'll be pleasantly surprised. So good luck. Let me know how you get on in the comments. Have a good one.